Whoa, what's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. We are here at Kyoto Driving Park as we are in our Volkswagen Beetle performing our daily race C. And you can see around us there's just a lot of Beetles in this lobby. And starting off in 6th place, hoping to get a really good finish here as we're just trying to grind our way to A+, as we did lose a lot of driver rating in the past week. So just clawing our way back up as we're pretty close to A+ ranking, but if we keep getting good finishes here, I think maybe in 3 or 4 races we should be back up to A+. So the required tires here are the mediums and the hards. So we're gonna start off on the mediums and then switch off to the hards and then finish the race in the mediums when we do this race. So before we jump up into the race, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into the race. Coming to the race, we are starting in 6th place as there's a WRX in the front, but look at right behind them. There's 2 Beetles, 2 Peugeots, and then the rest are just Beetles, as the Peugeots are just surrounded by Beetles, so it should be a really fun time for them. And one of those Beetles is, of course, us. So again, we're going to start on the mediums, switch off to the hards after lap number 3, switch off back to the mediums on lap number 5, and let's see if we can try to get a podium. So coming to turn number 1, we're still right behind the golden Peugeot. And trying to get a good entrance here and a good exit is we're going to head into the S section part of the racetrack. Staying right behind him as we're just staying single filed here. We're actually gaining time away from 7th place, so that's good for us as we could just focus on the cars ahead of us and not worry about 7th place trying to make an overtake on us as we head into this long left-hander. Braking right after the 50-meter board. The golden Peugeot actually gains a lot of speed. Goes a little wide coming out of that left-hander there, and that's going to help us out as the Peugeot in 4th place actually gets a little squirrely there coming out of that corner. And that's going to slow down 5th place, so we're going to try to make a move onto the inside. Going side by side into the hairpin, we brake as late as we can, and we're going to be able to get the overtake there and get 5th place as we come into the left-hander. So already one position made up there as we come into the middle part of lap number 1. So we set our sights now on the Canadian right ahead of us, as 2nd and 3rd are just fighting side by side. Well, they were, but there was lost a lot of track time because of that, and that's allowing the Canadian to catch up to the American there as we head into this long left-hander. Coming to the left-hander, 3rd place actually makes a really naughty move and just blocks off the Canadian. And the Canadian goes a little bit out wide, and we're able to make the overtake on him. So now we're promoted into 4th place as we head down the short straightaway. That's going to lead us into the right hairpin. Coming to the hairpin, braking right before those yellow lines. We actually outbrake ourselves, and so does 3rd place. And that allows 4th place to try to make a move onto the inside. He gets a little bit squirrely there as we try to get away from him, and we actually get contact from behind. And we go a little bit wide as we lose 2 positions, now 3 positions. And we get demoted all the way back to 7th place as we come back to the replay here. The golden Peugeot just tries to force his way down there as he's just making contact with the Canadian. Force the Canadian out wide to almost hit me, and then he makes contact with us. And then we just lose it there as we come into this little hairpin now on the end of lap number 1. As now we just have to focus on trying to catch back up to the cars ahead of us and re-overtake them as we jump up into lap number 2. So coming to turn number 1 on lap number 2, 6th and 5th are still fighting with each other as they're kind of beating and banging there. The Volkswagen is actually holding down the Peugeot there as we head into the S curves here. 6th place has to let go of the position as the 5th place actually squeezing them down. But that's going to affect the Canadian right ahead of us as he gets very, very loose coming out of the S. And we're going on to the outside as we head into this long left-hander. Try to brake as late as we can, but the Peugeot is still underneath us, so we have to keep it onto the outside now as we're heading out of this long left-hander. Going side by side out of the corner. We're holding it off into the inside. He makes a little bit of contact with us. We're going to keep it onto the inside, defend our position as we head into the hairpin. Brake right after the shadow. And we're able to hold off the Peugeot for 6th place as we now set our sights on the Canadian right ahead of us and defend our position as we head into this left-hander. So now we're able to make up 1 position. So now we focus on 5th place. So let's see if we can try to catch up to him and try to overtake him and set our sights back on 4th place as we head into the end of lap number 2. So coming to the end of lap number 2, braking before the R, painted on the floor. We try to catch up to the Canadians. He gets a little loose coming out of that corner, and that's going to invite us to try to look onto the inside, but we're just a little too far back as we're heading to this chicane here. Make a little bit of contact with the Canadian. Doesn't hurt him too much, but he gets a little too much speed coming out of that corner. He gets a little wide as we're making a move onto the outside. Braking right after the 50-meter board. We're trying to make a cutback now. And we're going to go into the inside here, try to make a cutback. Give him a lot of room on the outside. And we're able to make a 5th place as he actually comes into the pits. and that secures our 5th place as we come into the middle part of lap number 5, or not lap number 5, but lap number 3. So coming into lap number 3, coming into this left-hander again, we're catching up to 3rd and 4th place as we're also getting pressure from behind too, as 6th place is getting closer to us. As we head into the chicane now, see 3rd and 4th are still kind of nose to tail there, as 4th actually gets a really bad exit coming out of that chicane, and so do we as we go into the grass. But we're gonna have to come into the pits here as 1st place actually comes in the pits. And we come out of the final corner now. 3rd and 4th are still nose to tail fighting with each other as they're going to come into the pits here now. Coming to the pits, 3rd place goes in, but 2nd, or the car ahead of him, doesn't. And we're going to switch off from the mediums to the hards. As we lose 1 position now, as we're going to be coming out in 6th place as we head into the S section here. So fast forwarding here, coming out of the long sweeping left-hander, we're coming down into the hairpin now. Braking right before the shadow there. We try to brake as late as we can. As you can see, there's a car catching up to us really quick, and he actually makes contact with us, and we get taken out on the hairpin. Let's see what happens. We give him plenty of room, but the Nissan just forces himself out wide, spins us out, and we lose a few positions there as we get demoted all the way back into 10th place, now 11th, and we just have to fight our way back up into the field. As very disappointing that we got taken out like that, but now we have to do is just fight back into the field as we are behind 10th place, coming out of this little S section here. Coming to the long sweeping left-hander, trying to make a cut back here as he actually goes a little bit wide. We're going to try to make a move onto the inside as gave us a ton of room onto the inside, and we're going to do that. Coming down to the straightaway, we're able to make the overtake there on the straightaway, but we're going to have to brake as late as we can as he's still on the inside of us. Brake as late as we can, cover the inside, and we're able to make up 10th place there, so that's 1 position back after the spin. And now we set our focus on 9th, 8th, and 7th as we come into the end of lap number 4. So coming to the end of lap number 4, 2 cars ahead of us come into the pits, and we jump up into lap number 5. So we're going to have to chase down the Canadian ahead of us. There's a yellow flag again, and you see there's a car out. It's actually the golden Peugeot there that took us out on the first lap, and we're able to overtake him now as we come into the middle part of lap number 5. We're going to have to come into the pits here as we're still on the hards. We're going to come into the pits, switch off from the hards to the mediums. As you see, we caught up a lot of time on 7th place. Now right behind him as we come out of the that hairpin there. Staying right behind him on the slipstream. We're going to see if we could try to catch up to him as we come into this left-hander hairpin. Braking as late as we can. Brakes very, very early. He actually gets a very, very narrow entrance. We have to back out of there a little bit as we just gain a ton of time on him going into that hairpin. And now you can see we're right behind his bumper as we head into the chicane now. Coming into the chicane, we try to brake as late as we can. And he gets a really bad entrance there going into the final part of the chicane. And now you can see we're literally on his back bumper as we come into the final corner now. Brake as early as we can, but we actually make contact with him. As I tried slamming onto the brakes, but just couldn't do anything about that as we come out of the corner now. Going into the pits, as we're going to switch off from the hards to the mediums. So does he ahead of us. So we're going to switch off to the mediums, and he actually switches off to the hards. So that should be beneficial towards us as we head into turn number 1. Coming into turn number 1, we're on the outside here, coming into the end of turn number 1 here. As we're coming into the inside now, going side by side as we head into the S part. It's not going to work out as we head into the grass. Almost make contact with him, but that's just the frustration I think happening as we're just trying to get around him now. And we get a 0.5 of a second penalty. Coming to this long left-hander now, we're going to have to overtake him, try to get away from him, and try to make up from that 0.5 of a second penalty as there's actually a yellow flag ahead of us now. Coming out of the left-hander, we're right behind him now as we still have the advantage of the better tires as we're coming down onto the straightaway, leading us into the hairpin. Going side by side now as we head into the hairpin, making a move onto the inside. Going side by side, trying to keep it pinched onto the outside there as we make a little bit of contact. Now trying to make a move onto the outside of this hairpin. We're able to make the maneuver there, and we're able to make the overtake now. So we have to focus on just pushing as hard as we can as we enter this little section here right before the penalty zone. So fast forwarding here, going into the penalty zone, we're going to have to serve a penalty. Are we going to lose 9th place from 10th? And yes, we do as we head down the short straightaway, leading us into the right-hander. Coming to the right-hander, he gets a little bit loose as we're trying to make a move onto the inside, but he just covers the inside there. And we have to back out of the throttle as we almost made contact with him again as we're following him on the slipstream. Trying to make a move onto the outside. It's going to turn into the inside on this left hairpin. Braking as late as we can. He actually outbrakes us. and he's able to hold on to 9th as we try to force our way into the inside, make a little bit of contact with him, but we're unable to make anything happen there as we head to the chicane again. Coming to the chicane, trying to just stay right behind him as he almost loses it there, and we almost run into the back of him again as we come out of the final chicane, leading us into the final corner now. Coming to the final corner, we're on the brakes, have to slam on it again as we almost make contact with him. And we're now right behind him on the position. There's a couple cars ahead of us coming to the pits. We're able to just stay right behind him as we come into the first corner now. Almost make contact again, so we're just gaining too much momentum on him onto the corners. Decide twice about trying to make a move onto the inside there as we come into this S section. Coming through the S section, we're making a little bit of contact on his back bumper as we almost lose it there heading into that bump. And you see that invites 11th place to try to make a move onto the outside there. Squeeze him out a little bit wide, and the Peugeot actually goes a little bit wide, goes into the grass, spins out, and that invites us into the inside of the Volkswagen. We make a little bit of contact, and we're able to make up 9th place from the Volkswagen there. As we jump into the replay, you see the Peugeot just outbrakes himself, goes out really wide, clips the grass, spins out, and then we're inside the Volkswagen there as he tries to just come back onto us and takes himself out there as we head into the straightaway now, leading us into the right hairpin. Focus on 8th place there as we're actually trying to just gain time on him and see if we can try to overtake them as we come into this middle section, heading us into the final lap. So coming to the final lap, you see how much time we actually gain on 8th place as we're just pushing as hard as we can and try to catch up to him as best as we can as we come out of turn number 1. We actually get into the grass, almost lose it there as we're going to fast forward here into the section. Coming out of the long left-hander now, we're still right behind 8th place. As you can see how much time we actually gain on him. As right ahead of us, 7th place has a penalty, so that should be able to help us out. Coming to this right hairpin, look at how much time we were gaining on the Canadian right ahead of us as we're now on the back bumper of him. Trying to make a wide entrance into this left-hander here. We're catching up to him ever so slightly. And he actually gets a really bad exit there, so that's going to invite us to try to make an attempt here as we come into this left and right-hander. Catching up to him really, really quickly as we're now on his back bumper. We're trying to make a move on to the outside. And we almost make contact with the grass and spin out there, but we are able to hold it together now as the cars ahead of us are actually fighting with each other. One car actually goes out wide, and he's going to come back onto the racetrack as we're trying to make a move onto the inside. They make contact, and we actually get hit by 8th place there. As let's see what happened here. 7th and 8th are actually just fighting with each other, and 6th decides to push him out. He gets forced onto the grass, tries to force himself back onto the racetrack. As we are trying to fight there, he bumps into the red Volkswagen. The red Volkswagen bumps into us, and luckily we did not get spun out there as we head into the hairpin now. And we're able to make up 2 positions there as we come into the final sector now. Coming to the final corner, we're just trying to do everything we can to try to catch up to 6th place, but we're going to run out of time here as we come out of the final corner, leading us into the straightaway. We're going to finish the race in 7th place after being taken out twice on this race. So not too shabby there. Finished in 7th place, gained some points there for the driver rating. As you can see, basically the entire top 10, actually top 11 are just all Volkswagen Beetles except for 1st and 3rd place. So just shows you how overpowered the Beetle is on this racetrack. It just has a lot of grip on the corners. It's a really, really fast car on the straightaway. And not only that, it's really good on the tire wear. So you're just able to have a lot of tire grip throughout the entire race. And yeah, I don't know. The Beetles is just really, really overpowered here. So that's why a lot of people use it. If you guys haven't used that, definitely recommend you guys try it out on this racetrack. And it could probably help you guys out with finishing in a good position. So finishing in 7th place. Again, very, very disappointing because we got taken out twice. I think we could have finished in 4th place or maybe 3rd place if we would have not been taken out there. But, oh well, just have to move on to the next race and hopefully do better there. So again, if you guys found this video entertaining, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.